Evening, and welcome to Bring It to the Marley. I'm your host, Dwana Smallwood. This evening's episode was shot when the world was just beginning to open up again. It was tough times for all of us. The dance world struggled to find its footing, and dancers around the world worked to stay connected to the dance floor and to the Marley. I got to sit down with a very special dancer who I had no idea would blow my mind the way he did. I was moved and inspired. Hand-selected by Mr. Alvin Ailey himself, Aubrey Lynch traveled to more than 20 countries during his tenure with the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater. After his departure from the company, he then went on to dance on Broadway as a cast member in the Tony Award-winning Lion King. Soon after, acting as dance captain, dance supervisor, and ultimately associate choreographer. He maintained all 14 Lion King productions around the world. And this, folks, was only a fraction of the contributions he has gifted the dance world. At the time of this taping, Aubrey was the dance director and chief officer of education and creative programs at the Harlem School of the Arts. He currently is dean of students and director of ABT Wellness and Rise with the American Ballet Theater. If you have a moment and you'd love to be inspired by an honest conversation with a great artist whom we can all see ourselves in, I invite you to join me on the Marley.
For everybody. Art is essential, and dance is, by definition, abstract, but it's still a language. Before I began dancing, I was very, very quiet in the back, insecure, teased, bullied, called every name in the book, right? From the N word to the other words. And the first time I had a performance, which was actually a competition, I entered a dance contest with my best friend at the time, and we won. And I went from class nerd being bullied to a real celebrity in the school. Not only that, because that fed my ego, I was also found my power. I suddenly felt worthy, that I had something to say, and people were actually willing to listen to it. It was really the first step in embracing my voice and owning who I was. That's really what the Marley has meant for me. It's a place where I was able to own my own full self. I mean, I really wish I could find the same vulnerability, the same self-expression, the same freedom in everyday life, now as an administrator. But it's not safe. It is not safe. People are terrible. People are terrible to one another. And at a time like this, we should be banded together at one tribe. We are tearing each other apart, fighting for scraps. And it's disgusting. And it's personally painful because I can't be vulnerable. I spent my entire career basing it on authenticity and vulnerability. You hone your craft and you speak with your craft, whatever the craft may be. And for the first time in my life, I have to now hide my authentic self and basically, to be raw, live a lie sometimes and play chess with people that are, first of all, much better at it because they've been doing that for their whole lives. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm learning this little chess to navigating people and their stupidness, but it is essential. The higher you go in your life, the higher you are, your executive function, your ability to see the bigger picture and navigate through other people that are executives is really, really a whole new world. Because I haven't actually thought about it literally, like what do I do when I'm feeling that stress, that oppression, that the evil of people and what they will say and do to you. Sometimes without meaning to, but it still hurts. What do I do with the creativity and the vulnerability? I listen to music and I dance in my apartment. alone by myself. I just carry on in there, right? And I express myself. I envision the future in an optimistic way. I relive the past, my moments with Ailey on stage with Revelations or Reflections in D or that last conversation with Alvin. I just play these movies back and watch them like movies in my brain. It's hard to look at yourself when you remember. That's not going to sound crazy to some people watching these videos, but I look at myself in the mirror and go, that's not who I am. Especially when you start making those lines and get back at the bar, put on more form-fitting clothing for dance. It's hard to kind of see the shapes and embrace who you are now, remembering what you used to be able to do. Yeah, it's hard. But it's part of the human. It's a part of actually growing and evolving and owning your full self. Acquire it, and dancers have not learned it, right? I mean, the gift of dance with Alvin Ailey when I did was that I was the core group of people that really understood that, as Alvin said, dance was the ultimate self-expression. And by the time they got to the level of the company, when he was picking dancers, you had to already be a virtuoso of communication with your body. You just stand there in a pool of light, command an audience with a living muscle. That's Alvin Ailey, right? Tell the story in stillness. But I didn't realize how healing that was, how important it was, and how happy I was. Mm-hmm. And I had worked so hard to get there and wanted so much more. Around the kids said, Aubrey, come back. Aubrey, you have worked so hard. Give it a couple more years. What are you doing? He was asking for my inner best. He was asking for my inner self. And there was a moment I was in a pool of light, literally on stage, on the Marley, and I felt at one with God, the universe, every soul on earth, every plant, every tree. I just felt at one and at peace, totally comfortable. I could have died and gone to heaven and I had lived a life. That's how beautiful it felt. It was a very distinct feeling. And the real love and joy and I guess self-affirmation, reaffirmation, was when I was able to repeat that. I could actually go through my day, my drama, my anxiety, my depression, all this stuff, and the drama in the company, and taking class, and working with the choreographers, all the craziness, and then go on stage and do it again. That was the thing. You could just do that. I remember that kind of lyrical thing and the vulnerability, and you just in this place. That ability to tell your life story in a personal way. It's different for women, watching women. It just is. You're socialized in a way that you can access that part of yourself a little easier than guys can. So when a man does, it's actually across your socialization. But when I think of you and your authenticity and your realness and your motherhood, your earth mother sister kind of thing, you are your authentic self. And it may not feel like you can be that Juana Small with that white dress and that thing you said was so beautiful. You're doing that. And you're one of the people that actually do that in real life, even though, as you know, it's not safe to be that. And when you open yourself up and you are your authentic self in real life, and I do it, you have to be willing to take the punishment for it. I think I am living my purpose. Sometimes I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I think as artists, I'm sure I'm not alone here. It feels alone when I think about this, but I don't think I'm alone. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing sometimes. Like, what do I do next? What do I do now? How do you prepare for the next chapter? What's the next chapter? I don't really know. And it's horrifying because I always knew. I want to be involved. I want to be an Avenue. I want to be here. I want to be that. And now I'm in a place where I don't really know. I've done a lot of wonderful things, and I am searching for the thing. When I'm on stage, I feel like I'm in my purpose. When I'm with kids and children, I feel like I'm with my purpose, right? So I think I'm with my purpose, right? It feels like it sometimes, but sometimes there's such a friction, a life friction with people around you. And you go, well, why am I dealing with that? Why are people not seeing me, right? Why are they seeing someone else when I'm being my authentic self? And how do you manage the negativity around you when you're on your purpose? Because I always thought that when you're in your purpose, The universe conspires to help, like from the book The Alchemist. It's my favorite quote. I love that. When you're on the road to your personal legend or your purpose, the universe conspires to help you. I really believe that, and I think that's happening. But I guess I guess it's not gonna always be a walk in the park. And being in your purpose just does not mean it's gonna be easy. What I know for sure is that we're gonna be okay. We're gonna survive. And that doesn't mean survive and prosper or thrive. It means that life is moment to moment. We have this illusion that we're going to plan a 10-year this, a 5-year that, or wait for the love, wait for the job. Baby, life is happening now, in this very moment. And I know for sure, if we are to be happy and have a fulfilling life, we got to find joy in every second, even in the ugliness, in the horror, and the friction of anxiety, depression, and all things we face. You have to own that my life's happening now. It's maddening as well because, well, dang, I know I want so much more, not just for other people. I want more for all of us. I want to be in a world we can be Black or gay or a woman or transgender or Muslim and to be okay. Let's be celebrated. Why the F not? I want that world for everybody. And it's only a conversation away, right? And seeing yourself in someone else. It's that simple. And so, despite all of that, I know for sure that we will be okay. And we will not be the last living things on this earth. And I think every teacher I've ever had, I've learned from because I listened really carefully to them, even ones I don't like. Like when Tally Beebe was being really cruel to me at rehearsal, he was teaching me how to battle a dragon. Mm-hmm. And he told me, the last conversation we had, he goes, I tried to destroy you. I couldn't do it. And he gave me a rose. It was after a night that was dedicated to Tally Beebe. And after the performance, he came up to me and said that. I tried to destroy you. He didn't say why. And I'm guessing it was hard for him to be so talented and to never get the accolades he really deserved. And to be a Black, beautiful, beautiful dancer, beautiful man, and to age in that world at that time, to be who he was then. It's hard, I'm sure, because the opportunities weren't there. And here I would come along, bouncing off the walls, having much more opportunity than he did. He was, mad. But it was also a lesson of when you get envious, and I do, of my friends who had this fabulous success, I remind myself of him and that I don't want to be bitter. I want to love what I have and cherish it and celebrate it, and I am really blessed. And so when I get depressed and upset, get over yourself. It's not that deep, right? You have a life. You have had, if you die right now, God forbid, so something dead, right? If I die right now, I've had a full life. I've had more than a full life. And it's my responsibility as the receiver of that gift to give that gift back to as many people as I can. So I do not take it for granted what I've learned, and I'm very happy to say that I can reflect and love myself despite all the faults I see in me. If I could talk to my younger self, I would just, I'm getting emotional here. I would just give him a hug. I would just hold him and tell him it's going to be okay. That don't be scared. God's looking out for you. And people are going to look out for you. People are going to be there for you when you need them. Trust your talent more and don't let anybody mess with you or make you feel less than what you are, because you're beautiful and powerful and you're going to be great. Oh, that's what I would tell myself. That you're going to be okay. And no matter what anyone says to you, you stand tall and proud. Anyway, let them think what they're going to think. Oh, God, you got me good. You got me good. And I think it's something about people, that self-loathing, that self-deprecation, you're hurting yourself. I reflect back to, my childhood and that leap from that small town to my first summer in New York City and the horrors I faced. If I just know that I was more important than I could ever imagine, and if everybody could just know that you are more important than you can imagine, even if no one ever tells you that, even if they tell you that you're not important, or that you're ugly, or that you're a faggot, or that you're a nigger, or whatever the hell they're going to say, right? Mm-hmm. They tell you what you are still beautiful, and you will still shine. Like the poem that Dr. Mangela writes, and still I rise. Let them talk about you as you rise, right? And find your strength somewhere, whether it's other people, or a therapist. Don't do it alone, right? You have to create your family of people. Make it eclectic and make it authentic and make it safe. And if you're not safe, change the situation. You got to fight for yourself. So I just want people to love themselves, because we're so shamed for being human, being made the other. You know, I was always afraid when I left the Ailey company that I would disappear. That I would only be known for those couple years I danced on the stage with Alvin Ailey, and I would go off into obscurity. What does it even mean? That's just ridiculous. But I fear that, and so there's a part of me that fears that I'll disappear, that I will not be important, I will not be worthy, I will not be my authentic self any longer, that something will happen to take that away. I fear the kind of unexpected tragedy that so many of the people that we left have faced, and that your life can change in a minute. Even though I know that I would survive it because I've had those things happen, I've been fine, I just fear that after all that I've done and all that I have achieved and all that I've done for people, that no one will be there for me at the end. I've watched the greatest people on the verge of insanity. from all the AD people and the Lion King people and the HSA people, genius is everywhere, right? Genius creativity, but mad, totally bonkers. And you have to kind of accept both. And thankfully, everyone that I've worked with has been able to manage it. You know, I don't think all of them are self-aware. That's why I'm on a mission to be self-aware, right? I know my madness. I can be kooky and neurotic and reactionary and loud and triggered easily. But now that I know, I can work on it and monitor it. And I've learned that who I was before I got to where I am now is not going to necessarily work from here on.